My co-host David Ubben actually wrote a story on The Athletic that everybody can read, and he made a case that this run does not happen for Ohio State without the loss to Michigan. So you were talking about it wasn't like they flipped a switch. Instead, they just refocused and reprioritized themselves. Do you think that the loss to Michigan was that pivotal turning point that made them lock in with this laser focus that we've seen the past couple games?
I think so. And as always, usually we learn a lot of lessons about ourselves and our teams from losses, not wins. If
Yep.
I was writing Nate, I can only imagine what he said in that meeting the next day or that following Monday or Tuesday, basically saying, "Hey, listen, you know what? Let's not forget the ultimate goal here. Yeah, our seniors are not going to have an opportunity to win a Big Ten championship, beat Michigan, but we still have the ultimate goal in line, right? So we missed
Hmm.
out on those things, but we still have one other common goal that we all can really attack. And let's send these guys out on a high note." I
Hmm.
I revert that back to the conversations we had probably mid-season of the 2014 season. Our seniors was in the same boat. We was riled up at national championship, having an opportunity to play potentially Notre Dame in the BCS era in 2012 when we went 12-0, but we wasn't bowl eligible for some things previous teams had did to make us be on a bowl ban. And we know the BCS era, pretty much the two undefeated teams are going to play in the national championship. That was the most flawed system ever when you look back on it. And at that time, it had been 12-0 Notre Dame versus 12-0 Ohio State. But we wasn't bowl eligible. 12 and 11-1 Alabama got the nod over us and beat and hammered Notre Dame. So that was one national championship opportunity that cost us. 2013 wasn't a great team. We lost to, it was a good team, but we lost to, who would we lose to? Freaking Clemson in the Orange Bowl. We lost to Michigan State in the regular season in the Big Ten championship. So that was our guy's third year. Wasn't able to win a Big Ten championship or compete for a Big Ten championship or the postseason. And then in 2014, it was our senior class last year. It was all about sending them out on the right note, and that was our message going halfway to the season because the odds were stacked against us because we already had dropped one game, earlier that year to a non-conference, but everybody in the Big Ten was looking pretty good. So we knew we couldn't afford another slip up. So
Hmm.
having that on the front foot of your mind of saying, like, listen, let's send our guys on the right note. Yeah, we can't get a Big Ten championship game. Yeah, we already lost to Michigan, but we can send these guys out with a natty.
Okay, and that segues perfectly into my next question, talking about the ultimate goal, which is a national championship. And I've got to ask because I've heard that Ohio State fans would rather beat Michigan than win a national championship. So with all of your experiences, like if you could have one, like let's say you can only choose one, beating Michigan or winning a national championship, what would you choose?
That's extremely tough, but I already said it. But I actually saying it out loud, then it makes you kind of think like, do I really want that? I think I'm gonna have to go with win a national title, because
Hmm.
I think this when you say win a national title, a lot of things you got to do a lot of great things and beat a lot of other great teams to win that. Don't get me wrong, no disrespect to the rivalry. It means a lot to me. It means a lot to Buckeye Nation. It means a lot to everybody who put on that scarlet and gray.
Hmm.
But you're going to guarantee have an opportunity to play Michigan every year for sure,
Hmm.
100%. You're not going to be guaranteed to have an opportunity to compete for a national championship every year. It doesn't work like that. I mean, you go 6-5 going into week 12, you're still going to play Michigan. You go 6-5 going into week
Hmm.
12, win, lose, or draw, you ain't playing for no national title. You're not playing for a national title. It's been years where, Ohio State has played spoiler to Michigan chances to go to the Big Ten championship game and the Rose Bowl back in the day in the national title, and vice versa, same thing. So having that ability and opportunity to play other top teams around the country, to go for the ultimate goal of something that only one team is going to do each year, I'm going to go with win a national title, especially in this new format of the first inaugural 12-team playoffs.
The fact that you even had to ponder it, like that just lets me know you Big Ten people are crazy.
Yeah,
Because if
yeah,
somebody
it's
asked
because
me,
it's deeper. It's deeper than football. I think the
hmm.
rivalry of everything happened with way way back in the day, the war over Toledo with Ohio State, with the state of Ohio and the state of Michigan,
Hmm.
and just the history between legendary coaches Bo Schembechler, Woody Hayes, the history of the great players that played in those games, Heisman trophies winners on both sides with, guys like Charles Woodson, and guys like Troy Smith. Like, it's just so much history and bad blood. And then you have
Mm-hmm.
so many guys who either have a lot of experience with each other or play together in high school that end up on opposite sides of that rivalry. So
Mm-hmm.
it's very significant in a lot of different ways where it's more than about football. When I look at the part of the country each state is in, and we share Lake Erie is right here. It's very close to
Mm-hmm.
each other. Um, Unfortunately, at times, there's not a lot of highlights in these parts where we're so close in Toledo, Cleveland, Detroit, that area. But one thing we can kind of hang our hats on and prideful for them is, Michigan, us as Ohio State, and have an opportunity to compete against each other. It gives you a lot of pride throughout the year, saying my team beat that team, and I remember being a kid and watching those games, and one year I remember Ohio State lost, and I just remember like the feeling in school the next few days, the feeling within my community the next few days, and all of it. And I'm like, I didn't even understand it. And then I
Mm-hmm.
remember later on when we beat them when it was 1-2, and I just remember the excitement and the energy around the city. And I'm just like,
Mm-hmm.
this stuff is more than just a football game; it's a lifestyle.
Yeah, no, it definitely runs deep. And I got a little bit of taste of it because, I was recruited by Michigan and Ohio State. I committed to Michigan at
He's
one
committed
point.
to me, yeah.
I was. People don't know this, but I actually silently committed to Ohio State too. Obviously, I ended up
Jesus,
backing out of
make up
both
your
of them.
mind, bro.
Right, but I remember when I would be on Ohio State's campus whenever it was rivalry week, and I remember seeing like every street sign or any sign anywhere on campus that had a word that had the letter M in it, and it would just be like a big X right where the
Crossed
letter
out in
M would
red,
be.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, or I would be in Ann Arbor whenever Ohio State came to town, and Michigan fans, they didn't call y'all the Buckeyes, they called y'all the guys. Like, so I know I saw it firsthand,
Or
even though I didn't go to
yeah,
either school. I
yeah,
saw
or
how deep this
even the
rivalry
simple fact
runs.
of people like when say, "Oh, you went to Ohio?" I said, "No, I didn't." I said, "No, no, I went to Ohio State. Ohio and Ohio State, two different colleges. And no disrespect to the Bobcats, but Michigan called us
Mm-hmm.
Ohio because it's
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, it's a sign of disrespect to them, right? Like, oh, you go
Yeah.
to Ohio. So when people know, I'm like, no, I didn't. No, I didn't. I went to Ohio State. Difference.
Yeah, it runs. Listen, man, it runs deep when it comes to Michigan and Ohio State.